Hello and welcome back to Media Update, Media I ate with me, Nandini Fleury. This is a podcast where I talk about the media I consume, and since I've started this, I've only been covering K-drama. And in this episode, I'll be talking about episode 6 of Introverted Boss, which is also a K-drama on TVN. This show has two other names it's known by, Shy Boss and Sensitive Boss. If you watch either of those shows, we're talking about the same thing. In this media update, Media I ate, I'll be briefly summarizing as briefly as I can what happened in episode 6 and then blowing my top off about some characters, namely Kang-woo, Yisu, Unangi, I think. Maybe a few others. I honestly cannot even deal with these characters, nor the script writers who seem to be taking us, the audience, for dim-witted fools with amnesia for some reason. Okay, so I must warn you that as I'm reviewing this episode, there will definitely be some spoilers, so please watch up to episode 6 of Introverted Boss before listening to this if spoilers bother you. So before getting into the episode, let me recap the names of the main characters. Unangi is the introverted boss. He was the co-CEO of the PR company called Brain, where all these characters work, but he got demoted, I guess, and now he leads a division within the company called Silent Monster. His right-hand man and the antagonist, but also the second lead male of the drama, is called Kang-woo. He's a co-CEO of Brain as well. Chae-roon is the female lead character who is a new employee without much knowledge of PR. She has come to the company to seek revenge for her sister who committed suicide while working in this company as Unangi's secretary. All the other characters are pretty minor, and I'll describe them and possibly name them as I go along. So the last episode of Introverted Boss was by far the best one. It showed us why Chae-roon's sister, Ji-hae, committed suicide and also told us about Kang-woo's past. This episode is actually a continuation from episode 4. If you're trying to remember what happened in episode 4 or want to recap episode 5 or any of the previous episodes, just head to my YouTube channel to listen to the previous podcasts I've made on all those episodes. I've covered this entire series, or the series so far. Also, I'd love it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm coming up to 50 subscribers and I'm like so happy about it. Okay, so this episode starts with the Silent Monster team trying to figure out how they got home after getting drunk the night before in typical K-drama style. Absolutely no one can recall that it was Unangi who so kindly and generously got them all individual taxis home. The reason why they'd all gotten so drunk was because the day before, their team was supposed to give a presentation in a bid for a client's business, and the person who was meant to do the presentation was late. So Chae-roon literally pushed Unangi to the stage, and he was worse than a deer in headlights. He was unable to speak in front of the crowd, and when his anxiety reached its peak, he bolted from the room. The team felt quite ashamed and embarrassed by this, so they drunk it away in typical K-drama style. And also in a way that I guess quite a few people in the world do. In this episode, we see that a video clip of Unangi stuttering in front of the crowd, from the day before, became top news. Unangi's evil AF father, this man is downright evil, is running to be the mayor. He sees the clip and storms into Unangi's office. Okay, so if you've watched the episode, you know what happens next. If you've watched the episode, I want to know if you've seen a worse father in K-drama. Please tell me if you've seen any K-drama father who is at Unangi's father's level or worse, because honestly, I cannot imagine it. His father had him in literally a chokehold with his legs. I don't know anything about wrestling or any sort of physical combat or whatever, so I can't tell you exactly what the move is, but if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have a screenshot. On top of that, he wrecks Unangi's paperwork and messes up the desk in the office in front of Unangi's employees, insulting him in the worst way imaginable, openly. I thought his father I don't know, his father's character would be discreet about it, but no, far from it. It was shocking to watch. I couldn't imagine. I still can't imagine what Unagi must have felt like in that situation if he was a real person. It's crazy. And to make things worse, in his fury, his father wants to fire all of Unangi's staff, and he says this in front of them as well. Unagi runs to his car to be alone and safe. After his father leaves the office, his staff see on one of the papers strewn on the floor that the brilliant, groundbreaking speech Kang-ul made at the beginning of the series was actually based on Unangi's ideas, and they start to respect him a little. While the staff's respect for Unagi is increasing, Chae-roon is gaining sympathy for him as well. But what's on all their minds is that their jobs are hanging by a thread. So what do? They decide to go on an overnight team building trip, which absolutely no one wants to go to. Nobody wants to go to it. At the trip, we see Unagi trying to come out of his shell a little, and some breakthroughs are made in his relationships with one or two characters. Chae-roon, he sees, is clearly falling for Kang-ul, who is definitely getting closer to her. Unagi tells her that he's got a fiancé, and leaves it at that. When they come back to work, Chae-roon sees Kang-ul's fiancé and learns that she is Unangi's sister, Yi-soo. She also sees Unangi's carefree interactions with Yi-soo and remembers her own sister. Yi-soo came to see him at work because it's Christmas Eve, i.e. the day Chae-roon's sister committed suicide. In her sister's memory, Chae-roon goes to the orphanage her sister used to help out and donate to when she was alive. Unagi drives her there. Chae-roon is surprised at his helpfulness. She has this panda costume left over from a presentation she had to do in this episode, and when she's going to the orphanage, Unagi forcefully takes it from her and puts it on himself to visit the kids. Then we see a preview of the next episode where Unagi seems to get over his stage fright by being in a panda costume or whatever. It's ridiculous and it hasn't happened yet, so let me put a pause on that and let some steam off on the characters in this episode. Kang-ul. He is just a player with a fiancé who caused a wonderfully good woman to kill herself after messing with her. You know what? I get why he's still engaged. It's probably because at some point, or in some fucked up subversive way, he wants to get back at Yi-soo and Kang-ul's father for never trusting him. But don't use Yi-soo as a toy in it. Like, to him, she's just there for show. Oh my gosh, I hate his character these days. But I also hate Yi-soo. Like, I hate her character. I don't get why she's still with him. She's so blinded by love. It is infuriating. Okay, you know what else is frustrating? Okay, I can't even speak at this point. The inconsistencies in this plot. I do not get it. What on earth were the first 2 episodes of the series about if only after the last episode, or this episode, did Unagi discover that he has feelings for Chae-roon? Nonsense. Like, even his therapist was talking to him about how strange it is for him to have a crush on a minor actor in a play instead of, some big movie star or whatever. Do we all remember that from the first episode or second episode, whenever it was? Did that actually happen? What's going on? Like, am I hallucinating that happened? Why is he acting as though he didn't realize he liked Chae-roon until his Ajuma employee pointed it out to him? I give this episode a 2 out of 10. The only thing that's raised it from a 0 to a 2 is the shock value of Unagi's father choking him and his excessive aggression. That's new to me. Everything else was either mediocre or overpowered by just how much I hate the scriptwriters for making us feel dumb. Also, if you're going to make the script so extreme, also show some appropriate responses by the characters, right? I mean, after being choked by his father, I'd expect Unagi to break down and cry. not like an awkward, cringe-worthy conversation with Cheroon about him taking her home the night before. The script is so awkward. It really sucks at this point. I mean, especially after the brilliance of the last episode, to release this is just wrong. It's wrong, totally wrong. I'm Nandini Pluri. This has been my media update, Media I ate on episode 6 of Introverted Boss. The 7th one better be better. It has to be. If it isn't, and if the 8th one isn't either, I swear I'll switch off. I already, said something similar when I was reviewing the first 2 episodes. Like, I have more than enough on my plate as it is when it comes to Korean dramas. There's so many great and potentially great shows going on right now. I don't need to stay on this unless it's worth my time. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share them with me below in the comment section. But please, I beg you, don't post any spoilers of future episodes. I.e., the episodes beyond this one. Episode 6 of Introverted Boss. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more, and I hope you have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. Bye bye!